extremely qualified. We'll hear with what we can expect as the vote nears Arkansas's GOP. Senator Tom Cotton. Good morning to you, Senator.
Morning, everyone. Good to be on with you.
What do you think about that? Because I'm sure you're faced with criticisms when you go out to restaurants or wherever, the airports with your family.
Yeah. I think Lindsey needs to get better members of his fan club. So it's not surprising to see an incident like that with Lindsey Graham, who's chaired great hearings last week for Judge Barrett. Look, the Democrats know that they've lost the debate about Judge Barrett. Polls show the American people want us to confirm her. So once they've lost the debate, what do they resort to? They resort to yelling and screaming in the face of Lindsey. And pretty soon they'll be sending mobs and armed militias into the streets, as they did this summer, and as you had in 2018 when you had credible threats against U.S. senators simply for voting to confirm Justice Kavanaugh. That's all because the Democrats know they've lost the debate, because Judge Barrett proved herself to be incredibly knowledgeable and learned, brilliant, graceful, poised, and the American people want us to move forward to confirm her to the Supreme Court. That's exactly what we're going to do in the days ahead.
And Senator, just remember with the Kavanaugh hearings, people catching up to you guys at the elevator and all the uproar with Senator Flake. And who would ever think that somebody would be that off the hook from Seattle? It just doesn't seem right with what that city's been doing. Amy Coney Barrett was upside down. And then people say, hey, the Republicans should not be going forward with this nomination. It was pretty much underwater. But then something happened along the way. America met her. And look at this poll. 51% favor her confirmation, 46% don't, 3% no opinion. So that's more than the split for Republicans and Democrats. Now, here's the other question. Should Democrats increase the size of the Supreme Court if Biden wins? 58% of America is against it, just 31% for it. So this is trending in the more logical direction.
Yeah, it's pretty telling, Brian. The polls say that because the American people have a lot of common sense. And they know that, one, Judge Barrett will be an outstanding justice because she'll uphold and apply the law as it's written, not as she wishes it might have been written. And they know that we shouldn't do something like pack the court just because you don't like the justices on the court or you don't like the way they rule in a particular case. That would fundamentally undercut the court's legitimacy and the rule of law. Not even FDR was capable of doing that in 1937 with supermajorities in the Congress. The American people opposed it then, they oppose it now, and the American people are right about that.
The American people can read an op-ed you wrote on this topic, why she should be confirmed, at foxnews.com. Look at that, how I worked in a plug for you. Meanwhile, you know, this Hunter Biden laptop story, the mainstream media, for the most part, has not reported on it, except to say that it was Russian disinformation. But the Director of National Intelligence has come out and said it's not Russian disinformation. The FBI and the DOJ say it is not Russian disinformation. And yet your colleague across the aisle, the senator from Connecticut, says it is. Watch this.
The Russians this time around have decided to cultivate U.S. citizens as assets. They are attempting to try to spread their propaganda in the mainstream media rather than just relying on, bots and Facebook posts as they largely were 4 years ago. And they've been successful. Rudy Giuliani is effectively a Russian asset at this point.
Okay, so Senator, the FBI and the DOJ said it is not Russian disinformation. What does Senator Murphy know that they don't?
Yeah, Steve, these Democrats in the media, they see Russians lurking behind every tree and every rock. I mean, what is Russia disinformation not responsible for? I mean, pretty soon they're going to be saying it's responsible for weight gain and male pattern baldness, Steve. But the simple fact is that, as you've seen, John Ratcliffe, the Director of National Intelligence, said that this is not Russian disinformation. The Department of Justice and FBI said that as well. Look, if these emails are inauthentic or faked in any way, the Joe Biden campaign or Hunter Biden could simply come out and say that these things are fake. And here's the really telling thing, though. The way that you know that the Democrats and the media are just using this fiction of Russian disinformation for political purposes is as soon as it comes time to actually stand up to Russia, to rebuild our military, to modernize our nuclear forces, to impose sanctions on Russia, to produce more oil and gas here in America to compete against Russian oil and gas, what do? They immediately fold and they go back to their ideological corner and they let Vladimir Putin win time and time again. That's how you know that they're just using this for political purposes, that they're not actually serious, like I am, like Republicans are, about being tough and hawkish on Russia.
All right, so New York Times editorial board member was on another network saying that, yes, they did endorse Joe Biden, but they are nonpartisan. Listen to this.
When the New York Times editorial board endorsed Joe Biden, we didn't do it because the New York Times is a partisan newspaper. We're actually not partisan, but I think we did it because we see him as the best chance at saving our democracy, and we can have policy debates later. This election is not about Democrat or Republican. This is really about right and wrong and saving the soul of the nation.
Senator, we remember what you went through when you wrote an op-ed for the New York Times. Do you agree with her?
I mean, what a joke. Do these people have any self-awareness? But if they're really not a partisan newspaper, I've got news for the New York Times. I'll be submitting several new op-eds in the coming days that they can publish as well.
Great. You should do it and tell us what happens. Senator Tom Cotton, you'll get more traction with us anyway. Senator, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
All right, coming up straight ahead.